evening, everyone, and welcome to our City Commission meeting on this September 24th. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and as we begin today, we'll start with a moment of silence before we move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Next, we will do roll call.
Commissioner Goey.
Present.
Commissioner Knight.
Present.
Commissioner O'Connor.
Present.
Commissioner Purdue.
Present.
Commissioner Robbins.
Present.
Commissioner Yasasi.
Present.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes. And do we have an interpreter with us today?
We do.
We'll welcome up our interpreter tonight. If you need assistance with interpretation services, please let us know, and you're welcome to come forward, and we'll provide that for you tonight.
Good evening. My name is Crystal. I'm here to provide Spanish interpretation services if needed. Don't hesitate to ask for my assistance. Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Cristal. Estoy aquí para brindar interpretación en español. Si necesitan de mi asistencia, no duden en pedirme ayuda.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, and then before we get to our first opportunity for public comment, and this is specifically to action items tonight, I am going to ask our commissions for a suspend the rules, and this is a suspend the rules for an item that was moved forward earlier today at our civil service meeting, and it was an item that was requested for us to consider a change in our salary for the police chief, and so I'll entertain a motion, commissioners, to suspend the rules, and then we'll come back to this during the ordinance section. So this will be to suspend the rules to add it under our ordinance section tonight. Can I get a motion?
Support.
All right, moved and supported, and this is just to suspend the rules to consider this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, that will take us to our first item, our first opportunity for public comment. And this is a public comment tonight on action items. So earlier today, we had a whole host of standing committee meetings where we voted on a number of items. And if you were here tonight to speak specifically about one of those items, you're welcome to come forward, share your name, the city that you live in. And in this section, unlike the public comment period at the end, we ask you to be very explicit about what action item you're referring to. So CD number 2, fiscal committee number 3, but please be explicit. Is there anyone here who wishes to be heard on an action item? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close that, and that will take us to our approval of the minutes from our last meeting, and this was on September 10th. Can I get a motion?
Moved. Support.
All right, moved and supported. Commissioners, any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next that will take us to, we don't have any petitions and communications, is that right?
That is correct.
All right, that will take us to reports of city officers.
First one is the Comptroller's warrant report for the period of August 28, 2024 through September 9, 2024 in the amount of $19,226,773.82.
That is received and filed.
And the Treasurer's report for a period of August 27, 2024 through September 10, 2024.
And that is received and filed as well. All right, next that will take us to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda are items that we discussed earlier today at one of our standing committee meetings where there was a unanimous vote. So tonight, with one voice vote, we'll adopt those items. Commissioners, can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
Support.
All right, moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, that will take us to our ordinances to be adopted, and we have several ordinances before us tonight. We'll start with the first one.
First one is the ordinance amending Section 1 of the Budget Ordinance 2024-23 for fiscal year 2025, Amendment Number 3.
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Commissioner O'Connor, you want to tell us about this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. 14 items today. First item is Community Development Department is recognizing a grant of $3 million for the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. Items 2 and 3 are related to some grants we received for lead hazard programming to support the community in dealing with the hazards of lead. Item 4 is our annual support of Meltrotter for the personal storage program that they operate for us. Items 5 and 6 are both specialty court programs. One, substance abuse and mental health services court, and the other is the Michigan Drug Court Grant Program. Item 7 is a local match reimbursement from Walker and Kentwood to Mobile GR for some congestion mitigation and air quality work that we do. Item 8 is $125,000 of ARPA funds to help support the master planning efforts. Item 9 is a grant to support the Parks Department and the work that they're doing at Camelot Park. 10 is some bonds that we're putting out through the engineering department to support the Parks and Recreation, most notably the work that's being done in our ice arena. 11 is an engineering department is to appropriate funds to reconstruct Fuller Avenue. Item 12 is work that's being done by our engineering department to do improvements along the Elger Ravine. Item 13, Institute for Responsive Government grant of $100,000 to assist our clerk's department with elections. And item 14 is some grant funding to help support our Office of Sustainability.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, any questions or comments on our ordinance tonight, our first ordinance? All right, this is a roll call vote tonight. I'll turn to our city clerk.
Commissioner Asasi?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Commissioner Goey?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss?
Yes. And Commissioners, can I get a motion to give this immediate effect?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it carries. All right, next that will take us to our second ordinance before us tonight.
That is a consideration of an ordinance rezoning 1947 and 1961 Alpine Avenue Northwest from SD-IT Special District Industrial Transportation to the TNTCC Traditional Neighborhood Transitional City Center Zone District.
All right. And Commissioner Robbins, you want to tell us about this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the previous meeting this month, back on September 10th, the City Commission established.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you. Can I get a motion? Thank you. Moved and supported. Commissioner Robbins.
Yes, thank you. So our previous meeting this month, back on September 10th, this body established tonight as the date to consider this zoning amendment for these two parcels, which are on the northern border of our city off of Alpine Avenue near Walker. The proposal is to rezone them from special district industrial transportation to traditional neighborhood transitional city center. And then I'll just add too, I know we've discussed a lot about Alpine being a major corridor and being able to sustain some bigger commercial development and housing density. So I'm personally looking forward to seeing this go through.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great project and a great location. Commissioners, any additional questions or comments? All right, seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Commissioner Goey?
Yes.
Commissioner Asasi?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss?
Yes, it carries. All right, that will take us to our third ordinance before us tonight.
That is a consideration of an ordinance incorporating 1813 Boston Street Southeast and 1550 Plymouth Avenue Southeast into an existing planned redevelopment district at 1845 and 1919 Boston Street Southeast, and amending the site plan associated with the expanded planned redevelopment district to facilitate the construction of new assisted living and independent living residences at Beacon Hill at Eastgate.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support?
I think it's throwing me off because they're so lengthy. All right, Commissioner Purdue from our third ward, you want to tell us about this item?
Absolutely. Is it September still? Yes. Earlier this month, September 10th, the City Commission established today as a date to consider an ordinance amendment to facilitate a modification and expansion of Beacon Hill at Eastgate. Beacon Hill at Eastgate is a continuing care retirement facility that offers a range of residential options from independent living to skilled nursing. This ordinance will rezone the portions listed in the memo from a mid-20th century neighborhood low-density residential zone to a special district planned redevelopment district in order to incorporate them into the existing Beacon Hill development. With the addition of, with this rezone and some additions to these single-family residential properties, the Beacon Hill development will be approximately 23 acres in area.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments related to this item? All right. This is a roll call vote tonight.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Commissioner Goey?
Yes.
Commissioner Asasi?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes, it carries. All right, that will take us to our fourth ordinance tonight.
A consideration of an ordinance for a conditional rezoning agreement for a portion of 1639 Madison Avenue Southeast to facilitate the construction of a light industrial manufacturing facility.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Commissioner Knight, you want to tell us about this?
Yes, Mayor, this is actually exciting. It's a next phase of development for what used to be National Brass Company and Dexter Lock Building Site, which will now be utilized for light manufacturing warehouse and office space for Gentex Corp., which will be supplier of electro-optical products for the global automotive, aerospace, and fire protection industries.
Yeah. We are very excited about this
Yes.
project. I know many of us have met with them and learned more about this exciting project, so.
Yeah, excited about the jobs that will be created
Yeah.
in that space.
Yeah, it's great. Commissioners, any questions or comments? All right, this is a roll call vote tonight.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Commissioner Goey?
Yes.
Commissioner Asasi?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes, it carries. All right, that will take us to our fifth ordinance to be considered tonight.
It's a consideration of an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance, Chapter 61 of the City Code, to allow additional parking for office uses in the TN-CC, which is Traditional Neighborhood City Center Zone District, to reinstate the micro-unit density bonus in the TN-TCC, which is the Traditional Neighborhood Transitional City Center Zone District, and to reclassify car washes and vehicle fueling stations in the C, Commercial Zone Districts, to special land use.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Commissioner Goy, you want to tell us about this?
Thank you, Mayor. On September 10th of this year, the City Commission established September 24, 2024 as the date to consider several zoning ordinance text amendments to address current challenges and concerns experienced by the Planning Department over the last several years, and to reinstate language inadvertently removed under a previous amendment with proposed changes to better clarify the regulations. The changes can be summarized as follows. 1, allow for additional parking for office uses in the traditional neighborhood city center zone district. 2, reinstate the micro-unit density bonus in the TN-TCC traditional neighborhood transitional city center zone district. And 3, reclassify car washes and vehicle fueling stations in the mid-century neighborhood-commercial and the modern era neighborhood commercial zone districts from permitted uses to special land uses.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. So we had several conversations about this, good feedback from our Planning Commission as well as our Planning Director. Commissioners, any additional questions or comments? All right, this is a roll call vote tonight.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Commissioner Goey?
Yes.
Commissioner Asasi?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes, it carries. All right, and then the ordinance that we added onto our agenda tonight, I'll start first with a motion that will allow us to give this immediate consideration. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, I'll turn to our city clerk to read this one.
Yep, a salary ordinance amending Section 3.2 of Ordinance 2022-40, range change police chief.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Commissioner Asasi, who serves on our civil service, you want to tell us about this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this afternoon, our Civil Service Board meeting met along with HR staff and leadership, and the board concurred with the Human Resources recommendation of a 7% scale increase for the police chief's salary range. A lot of work was done on this, including current market data and a desire to really demonstrate the desire of the organization to retain the chief over the longer period and know that we need to have more work on a comprehensive compensation and classification review. A reminder for all of us and those watching, we are in the midst of that work and also did receive an update on that classification study. But we also know that continuity in this police chief's role is important for public safety and welfare. Today at our public safety meeting, we heard about our monthly statistics and talked quite a bit about how we have been continuing to move in a very positive way. Any loss of life is a very difficult thing, but also really working to resolve murders and other assaults that happen in this city. Additionally, I'll add that the research demonstrated a highly competitive market for qualified police chiefs, and that we know maintaining that competitive compensation strategy, again, is going to be needed and perhaps even reviewed in the future. There was a number of locations that were reviewed, with an average annual salary of approximately $192,000 for chiefs of police across the region, and this is including Michigan, Ohio, and Illinois. It's also of note that compensation across the country typically includes a pension offering, which we have a retirement system, but it's a defined contribution system, not a defined benefit. And I'll just mention that we will again engage in that further review. We've condensed our compensation study to now be at the end of April of 2025. I'd like to thank Michelle Eddy, our chief examiner, Miss Randy Bauer-Payne, who is our director, who did a lot of work on this. We know that in organizations, it is necessary to review compensation, and I think Mr. Matthews mentioned also coming from the ICMA conference and just a continued need. The organizations our size that are striving to really not be the minimum, but to be very excellent, have to review compensation. And while it is outside of this compensation review, we do feel that it was necessary, and the board agreed. I will note, out of the 5-person board, it did pass. 4 individuals voted, 1 did not vote to support, and I think it's important for transparency, but the motion did carry. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate bringing this forward. I strongly support it and believe that we do need to be competitive and retain our top talent, particularly in public safety. So thank you very much, and thanks to the team that worked on this. Commissioners, any additional questions or comments? All right, this is a roll call vote tonight.
Commissioner Goey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sassi?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss?
Yes, it carries. And Commissioners, can I get a motion to give this immediate effect?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, Commissioners, that will take us to our public hearings. We have a number of scheduled public hearings tonight, and some of them are related to the same project, so I will take those together with your consent. But the very first one is a public hearing where this City Commission, we have a public hearing to sit as a board of review to hear appeals on special assessment nuisance rules, and this one is specific to special assessment nuisance rule 8790. So we will, as I said, open that up momentarily after our city assessor has an opportunity to speak. And then, again, this public hearing is just for individuals who are on this roll who wish to come forward and file an appeal. So I'll turn to our assessor.
Good evening. My name is Paula Jassifer. I'm the city assessor. And the City Commission issued an order for the assessor to create the Special Assessment Nuisance Rule 8790. These are for unpaid charges for services or code violations issued between January of 2024 through June of 2024. And these charges stem from miscellaneous services such as housing and yard violations, rental certifications, blight monitoring, and other unpaid charges. So property owners that are affected by these charges were sent notices back in August 19th, included the amount of the charge, as well as information on the appeal process. And the special assessment roll has been open for public inspection for at least 2 weeks, starting August 19th through today, September 24th. And we've also posted this online. We've received 5 appeals to date, and tonight is the last opportunity to file an appeal on these assessments. So I will be in room 921 to take in any appeals. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, so if you are on this assessment roll and you wish to be heard by this body, you're welcome to come forward. We ask that you share your name, the city that you live in. You'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak. So if you are here to file an appeal and be heard by this body, please come forward.
My name is William Peterson. I'm filing an appeal for myself and my wife. The charge is for a search warrant. The search warrant was not signed by a judge, not delivered in the proper paper, did not have the return filed properly nor accurately, and that ought to be enough to throw the thing out, or at least get, and it did not have a case number, and the case that it was filed under had already been settled by Judge Faber.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. And if you want to connect with Paula, you're welcome to do that. All right. Are there others who wish to be heard for an appeal? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that public hearing, and that will take us to our next scheduled public hearing. This is a public hearing to consider past performance and future needs of our housing and community development programs. So to start this one off, I'm going to have Ms. Connie Bohatch come forward, and she'll share a few slides and overview of information with us on the Housing and Community Development Programs Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. And then if you are here to be heard on for this public hearing, I'll open it up after Ms. Bohatch is done.
Thank you. Good evening. So I was in front of you at your last meeting. I'm sorry?
The clicker is in the drawer.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Nope, that's okay.
I provided you an overview of our consolidated annual performance and evaluation report at your last meeting. It was a very high level, but yet some more detail in terms of what's in that report. So tonight is a part of the process prior to us submitting that to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, where we provide an opportunity for individuals to provide comments on past performance, and then also an opportunity for any future needs that they believe we should be considering as we make investments in the community using our federal funds. Just to give so tonight I'll just give a very high level overview so that there's some context before folks come up to provide some comments, and that this is one of 3 documents that we need to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to receive our federal funds for housing and community development programs. First, we have a 5-year plan that provides which operates as our strategic plan in terms of how we invest those resources over the 5-year period. And then every year after that, we submit an annual action plan with specific projects, dollar amounts, and for those activities that we identify. That is a process that we go through on an annual basis. You may refer to it as our annual funding process, where we allocate those dollars through the neighborhood investment plan. And we have city commissioners who help with some preliminary recommendations that come forward to this body in putting that action plan together. And then at the end of the year, on an annual basis, we then report out on performance from those specific activities. So this CAPER, the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, covers the period of July 1 of 2023 through June 30th of 2024. During that time period, here's a snapshot of the resources that were available through the various federal funding sources, including the Burn Memorial Justice Assistance Grant, which is not part of our HUD funds, but we allocate that in our neighborhood investment plan process. You can see that the Community Development Block Grant happens to be our largest resource that we have available on an annual basis, typically. We allocate that through the Neighborhood Investment Plan through 8 outcomes, where applicants are requested to put in proposals telling us how they will actually have projects or programs that meet one of these 8 outcomes. And then we review that, and again, through that process where we have a city commissioner from each ward that vets some of those vets those recommendations prior to it coming to you for final decisions. And during that time period for this CAPER, here's how those resources were actually allocated and invested in our community. And you can see that there was a significant amount of resources that were allocated for housing and homelessness issues and programs and services. $8.6 million of those funds in total addressed outcomes in those areas. And tonight, we're at the public hearing part of our process. We have a public comment period that started on September 9th, and it will actually conclude at the end of the day tomorrow. So we are accepting public comments tonight, and we'll still continue to accept written comments through 5 p.m. Tomorrow, and then we will finalize the documents and submit to HUD by the deadline of the 27th. And if someone still would like to access the document, it is available on our website at grcd.info.
Great.
And then one last plug, sorry, before you open the public hearing.
Sorry.
So we are soon to be starting this process all over, and we'll be soliciting for applications for those resources, and we have some information sessions that are scheduled on October 1st and October 2nd. So any organizations that may be interested in learning about the process, learning about whether they would be eligible to apply, to please visit our website or call the Community Development Department at 456-3677 to get more information and schedule yourself to attend.
Great, thank you. And I'll just add, Ms. Bohach, I'll say if any of my colleagues have any questions, I'm just going to make a comment. Again, I know we've talked about this multiple times when we have met, but I just want to remind folks that this is just one aspect of the work that we do around housing, and we'll be getting a full briefing that includes a wider array of all of the different work that we're doing around housing and homelessness at our retreat in November. But again, just remember, this is just a sliver of the work that we're doing in this space throughout our community. So, Commissioners, any questions or comments for Connie or for Ms. Bohach? All right, and take a seat. If you are here then to be heard on this item, you're welcome to come forward. Again, we ask that you share your name, the city that you live in, and we'll give you up to 3 minutes to speak. Hi, welcome.
Hi, my name is Jim Davis. I'm the Vice President of Business Development with Family Promise of West Michigan. Madam Mayor, Mr. City Manager, and Commissioners, thanks for the opportunity to speak. Ms. Bohach, thank you for your presentation and all of the work we're doing in community development. Just on a side, thank you for all of your enthusiastic support for a project not done by Family Promise, but I was able to celebrate a groundbreaking today at 32 Pleasant. Thank you for the work you've done to support John Glover and Wellhouse. We are all in this together. Family Promise focuses on families with children who are experiencing a housing crisis. We try to prevent homelessness. We work with people through it, and we try to keep them from recidivism once they're through that. But my good friend and many of yours, former Commissioner Kurt Repart, was there, had some poetic words for each of you and the work that you're doing to continue to address these drastic needs in our community. At Family Promise, it's essential that I share a couple things with you anytime I have the chance. I just want to let you know that as of 5 o'clock today, when our business day ended, 30 families in Grand Rapids are unsheltered. We don't have rooms for them, and they're seeking shelter. This is Category 1, literally homeless families. That's 119 people, 74 of whom are children, 33 are under the age of 6. These families are averaging $3,432 of income on a monthly basis, and still struggling. So there are some significant needs. All of that to say, we are celebrating at Family Promise all of the support you have continued to show us as an organization. I know, as Mayor Bliss reminded me today, you've always been behind that work, but we're grateful for the first financial support that we received most recently for our supportive services at Family Promise. On July 1st, we started that project with you, and we're really excited about it. 70% of the work we do at Family Promise is on diversion and stabilization. So if you know us as a shelter provider, know that we're doing much more than that. We know that it is much more cost efficient and honestly better impact if we are able to keep a family out of a homeless episode, and if we are able to prevent them from going back into the homeless system. Our programs at Family Promise are very diverse in that we do shelter assessments, we do diversion work, we do outreach services like so many of our community partners. We work in those emergency shelters. We have rooms here in Grand Rapids, in Wyoming, and we have scattered site housing units across our community. Our stabilization service is the bulk of our work, and we also work in manufactured housing. There is manufactured housing in the city of Grand Rapids, and we continue to be grateful that it's making more and more of an appearance in the way that our monies are allocated. We do work to prevent and resolve those episodes of homelessness. We do increase supply of affordable housing, and we do improve the access and stability to affordable housing. There are so many other things I'd love to share with you. I'm here today to just tell you that these issues are not going away. They're very prevalent in our community. We are the leaders in family homelessness, in prevention and stabilization, and we'd love to be awarded another opportunity to work with you here in Grand Rapids. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Appreciate it. All right, others wish to be heard? Hi, welcome.
It's so good to be before you all. I see so many friendly faces that I've missed and so many new faces. So my name is Nancy Haynes. I'm the Executive Director of the Fair Housing Center of West Michigan. Our office is at Holland Division, so 3rd Ward, but I'm a proud Northwest Sider in the 1st Ward. And I am here to talk a little bit about, share my gratitude for the continued support we've received. We've been funded through the CDBG funds through the City of Grand Rapids and been partners with with the Community Development Department and the city since the mid-'80s. And we work together to ensure that the fair housing needs of the residents and also the housing providers that are in Grand Rapids or for people who wish to reside in Grand Rapids are being met. So, you know, it's great to see Family Promise here. We work with Family Promise. We try to be the fair housing expertise at every table. And through the CDBG funding, we can do that. The City of Grand Rapids used to have a fair housing officer, and it was too expensive to keep someone on staff who may or may not have to do fair housing every single day. So you partner with us, and then we can work with your planning department, we can work with your community development department, we help put together developer binders, anything we can do to help further fair housing. But we're seeing a huge spike in the demand for our services. What we do is if someone calls us, we can investigate claims of housing discrimination, but we can also proactively do systemic investigations. We also do a lot, we try to lead with the handshake, so we do a great deal of fair housing education and outreach. So just on Saturday, we were at Home Repair Services. We did a home equity home ownership fair. We're in the classrooms. This week, we were in Godwin Heights. I think next month we start in Union. We do a 10-week course partnering with Diatribe to help people understand the importance of place and how to use their voice constructively. We try to figure out how best to further our message of fair housing and get it connected in any way possible. So we've seen a huge spike since COVID. Prior to COVID, we'd get about 1,000 phone calls a year. Of those, about 150 were fair housing calls or cases. And we try to make sure that the next call someone makes, if we're not the right call, is the right call. Since COVID, we've get about 2,000 calls, and we're over 200 cases. And the great majority, while we serve 38 counties, the great majority of our cases come from the City of Grand Rapids. Last year at this time, we had 40 cases from Grand Rapids. This year, we have 80 open cases from Grand Rapids. Our funding has remained constant since 2015. We're at $75,000. We have a staff of 10. We're doing lending discrimination, appraisal discrimination, algorithms. I mean, the types of fair housing discrimination have gotten so much more complex. We need to keep this incredible staff. We have the best fair housing center. It's not because of me, but it's because of the team that we have in the country. So I'm grateful for the support we've gotten, but I'm just asking for $90,000 in next year's budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate your leadership and everything that you do at Fair Housing. All right, anyone else wishes to be heard on this item? All right, seeing none, I'm going to close that public hearing, and that will take us to our next scheduled public hearing tonight. Oh. Okay, I'll allow it, but then after your comments, I'm going to close this public hearing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My name is Shannon Tanis, and technically I'm a leaseholder in the 1st Ward at Martinell Apartments through Dwelling Place. I have been displaced and had been put in a status of homelessness again because of the maladministration of these properties. And I've caught lodgers living in the basement because of resident artists, your live-in, worked-in spaces, allowing and conducting whatever activity they want. These same lived-in artists are holding events in their units with their doors open, smoking marijuana, and having open liquor bars with staff. We are on our 4th property manager right now, and they are looking for a senior property manager. I cannot get the CEO, Jeremy DeRue, to engage me, none of the property managers or anything. I've been threatened so many times. The safety and security of what is going on here is very grossly negligent. The fact that Dwelling Place is connected to Linked Up, and they are all lying about the numbers that they're reporting about what they're helping. And I appreciate all the work that you guys done, because I know you've done a lot of work, but it's basically playing catch up and you're not getting ahead of the curve. I would like to see this body come to a proposal to enact rent caps to accommodate the fact that you cannot get people in housing. You have so many units empty right now because of the fact that the formula that you have does not accommodate their needs to be able to get into the units for what they have for income for source. And you have the ability to exercise your authority and your state independence to regulate these formulas. The federal formula is just a baseline. It's your utmost duty to uplift these things. And there is already legislation when it comes to the security and public safety that you can act on these things. I am here because of the fact that I am having to file in court to resolve these matters because I cannot get Jeremy DeRue or anyone else to engage me on the fact of getting out of this situation and what has been caused upon me for over the past 2.5 years that I have been placed in this place here. I appreciate Family Promise being here, but they were a part of the monopoly that the Essential Task Force was creating and selected them to be the only organization to process family status, which is a gross deficiency. So I would appreciate if we can get down to the bottom of these things, like the Maurice Townsend connected to all these people, too.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tanis. Thank you. All right, I'm going to close that public hearing, and that will take us to our next scheduled public hearing. So, Commissioners, with your support, I'll take items 3 and 4 together. They're related to the same project. I'll read those both together. If I see no opposition to that. All right. So let me read both of these. They are a public hearing. It's a public hearing to consider a brownfield plan amendment for the Talbot Bridge LLC redevelopment project located at 648 Bridge Street Northwest and 345 Lexington Avenue Northwest. And then the next item is a public hearing to consider the establishment of a neighborhood enterprise zone for the same project located at the same location. So notice of both of these public hearings have been made pursuant to state law. And so tonight before us we have our Economic Development Director, Ms. Raniero, who will tell us about this item. And then it looks like we have a couple guests with us tonight who are working on this project, including the developer. And we'll invite them to come up to speak after Ms. Raniero is done. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Yes, this project is the demolition of an existing former grocery store along the Michigan corridor, construction of an all-new 5-story mixed-use building. We've got 148 different apartments, integrated parking with 69 spaces, and AMI rents under 120. We've got total capital costs at $30 million, with about 10% dedicated for those aspirational subcontractor goals, which equates to about $2.36 million. This is an amendment for our traditional brownfield activities, totaling about $3.6 million, mainly related to the deck. And we anticipate construction starting this winter with completion anticipated next summer. And yes, I wanted to also call some attention to the NEZ exemption certificate and the couple of investment criteria that are above and beyond that normal NEZ of 9 years. So this is a 15-year exemption certificate based around the transit-oriented development initiatives that they're putting forward, as well as that aspirational goal of 10% on the subcontractor goals. So that with that, I'd like to invite Ryan Talbot and Joe Agostinelli up to talk a little bit more. Thanks.
All right, welcome, Mr. Talbot and Mr. Agostinelli. Welcome. You want to tell us about this? I know the folks in the Second Ward have appreciated you and your work on Plainfield, and now you're over on our west side. So you want to tell us about this item?
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. So yeah, as you alluded to, my name is Ryan Talbot. I'm doing the development at Plainfield and Quimby in Creston. We're 5, maybe 6 weeks away from opening up those units, welcoming our first residents there. This project, this piece of land came up as a great opportunity for what's sort of a follow-on project to that the first one in Creston. So taking the best of that deal and enhancing it for this site. So it uses a lot of the same philosophies. So this building is going to be as sustainable as is feasible under the circumstances. So solar panels, it's an all-electric building. There's going to be EV charging, triple pane windows, things like that are easier to do now today with today's technology and costs than they were maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So it's roughly equivalent to a LEED Gold kind of building. So I think reasonably sustainable, you could call it that. It will be a 5-story building, what's called a podium-style project. So it'll be one concrete level with 4 stories of wood above that, with lots of different unit types in it. There's going to be studios. We've refined this a little bit further, so there's going to be traditional studios as well as sort of a studio plus, or what we call like an urban 1-bedroom with a little more segmented spaces. There's going to be 1-bedrooms, some with offices included, some without, and then a handful of 2-bedroom units as well. So we're using a lot of the same construction team. Design and construction is with Pinnacle Construction Group, same as the last time. Hopefully a lot of the other same team members continue to copy and paste just to make this as efficient as possible. And we're also going to utilize the same 3 incentive opportunities on this. So Neighborhood Enterprise Zone, Brownfield TIF, and MEDC CRP loan on this. So
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? All right. Mr. Gastinelli, anything to add?
I'll be real quick. I just want to say thank you to city staff, in particular Sarah Ranero and Jess Solis, who have been incredibly helpful on this project, especially through a staff transition in the middle of it. So I'm happy to answer any of the technical questions on the Brownfield plan, but appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'll turn to my colleagues, see if there's any questions. First Warders, any questions? I know you're both familiar with this project.
No, just good to see you face to face and look forward to having your presence in our neighborhood. So thanks.
Thanks. All right, I'll turn to the audience. If you are here to be heard on this item, you are welcome to come forward and share your comments. Again, we ask that you share your name, the city that you live in, and you'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this item, on this project located on Bridge Street? All right, seeing none, I'll close that public hearing, and that will be referred back to us at our Committee of the Whole meeting. All right, next that will take us to our second scheduled public, I shouldn't say second, it's technically our 5th and 6th item on our agendas related to the same project. Again, Commissioners, with your consent, I'll take these items together. So I'm seeing head shakes, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'll read them in. Again, we'll follow the same process, turn it over to Mr. Nero and then to our partners here who are working on this project, and then open it up for public comment. So this is a public hearing to consider a Brownfield Plan amendment for the 385 Leonard Street Northeast Development Project located at the same address, 385 Leonard Street Northeast. And then a part of that, or a companion item, is a public hearing to consider the establishment of a neighborhood enterprise zone for the same project located at 385 Leonard Street Northeast. Similarly, all of the notices for this project were sent out according to state law. And so we'll start again tonight with Ms. Ranero, and then we'll turn it over to our guests.
Yes, good evening again. Yes, we've got James Lewis and Lawrence Duffler here to talk and answer any questions. But this project is also a 5-story new construction mixed-use building. We've got integrated parking with 80 spots, retail included as well, and we're anticipating $39 million in total capital costs. You can see the residential units there range from 70 to 110. And the inclusion plan and those aspirational goals around the subcontractors at 10% again, which is great. The Brownfield TIF ask here in this instance is actually tapping both the traditional housing, or I'm sorry, the traditional eligible activity as well as the new housing activities, which is again associated to the financing gap between what we can rent those units as to what they're actually costing to build. And so the units related to those activities are 36 of the 181. And then on that NEZ, again, you're seeing that 15-year certificate because of there's 2 criteria here in this case that they're also achieving similar to the last one, both around transit-oriented development and also the aspirational 10% goals. You can see the construction starting there, and I just want to welcome Lawrence and James to add anything that I may have missed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Welcome, good to see you.
See you, Mayor. Thanks, Commissioners. This is great to be in front of you guys. This is we've been in Creston now since 2003, doing a lot of renovations and improving the properties around there, and just opened our corporate headquarters 2 years ago at the old Hope Network, the old St. John's home. So we love Creston. It's a little surreal because Ryan's doing a great job with his project right around the corner from our office. His new project is the old Dutler food site, so I'm sure my cousins are thrilled about that. So it's just I don't know, it's great. We're super excited about this project. We started this with the idea of thinking of our own staff. We've got great staff in our offices, and there's just this expensive housing and trying to find housing and the like. So we're super blessed to be working with the folks over at Pinnacle. They designed a beautiful building. We really appreciated how they arranged the units to do, I guess what this called workforce housing. So we're trying to keep the costs as low as possible because we really anticipate some of our own employees having an opportunity to be in there. So it's a great location. It's right down from the medical mile. It's right on these public routes. So as I look at this rendering here and think about just the transformation that's happened in the Creston area, and we've always known and seen that it was a fantastic neighborhood. It's just great people, and it's just to see all these developments going in and this beautiful housing project, ours and Ryan's and others that are in there. It's super exciting. So with that, James can answer a lot of technical questions. I'm more just having fun.
All right. Thank you. James, anything to add?
No, I'd just like to, again, appreciate the staff at the Planning Department and the Economic Development Department. They've been wonderful to work with. It's a challenging site. We had to go through a PRD to get the project on there, working with the neighborhoods, and, the Creston neighborhood has shown us nothing but great support. They love the project as well, and, we're looking forward to pushing it to the next steps. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, any questions or comments? Right. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thanks, Mayor. So not too far down the road from me, and I just want to say thank you on that engagement. I know the last Creston Land Use Committee was at one of your locations and just opening up the space, but really to talk to the project. I think we know it's change management. A lot of what we do is talking about what could the corridor look like, what it could connect to. I think you're right on all of the different access points, micromobility options, and so I have also heard from individuals that they're excited about this. They appreciate being communicated with. So I just wanted to continue to highlight that as we go through this development process and more projects in our city. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'll add one comment before I open it up. It's kind of a special space for me. I think I told Lawrence this once before. My first interview out of college was in that building at Hope Network in 1996. And then I worked for St. John's for over a decade, so it's kind of an interesting circle.
How many people have history with that?
Some deep
building?
history in your corporate building.
My dad was dropped off there at one point at the orphanage.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of
So when he
history.
comes for lunch, there's a little PTSD, but
Hopefully not much. All right, so with that, I'll have you two take a seat if you would like. And if you are here tonight to be heard on this item related to this project on Leonard Street, please come forward. Again, we ask that you share your name, the city that you live in, and you'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak. So is there anyone here who wishes to be heard on this Brownfield Plan Amendment for 385 Leonard Street? All right, seeing none, I'll close that public hearing, and that again will be referred back to our committee on the whole, commissioners. All right, that will take us to our last scheduled public hearing. Again, commissioners, I'm going to take these three items together. So items 7, 8, and 9, seeing no objection to that. So these three are all related again to the same project. It's a public hearing to consider a Brownfield Plan Amendment for 1516 Cesar Chavez redevelopment project located at 1516 Cesar Chavez Avenue Southwest. Also a public hearing to consider the establishment of an obsolete property rehabilitation district pursuant to PA 145 of 2000 for the same project located at the same location. And then the third one is a public hearing to consider an application for a 12-year obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate pursuant to PA 146 of 2000 for the same project located at the same address. Again, all of the notices for these three items were made pursuant to state law, which brings us here tonight. And we'll follow the same process. We'll turn it over to Ms. Ranero. We have some guests here from the project and the developer, and then we'll open it up for comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have Peter Scornia and Juan Lopez here on behalf of the project, and I'll give them a moment after I give you a brief overview here. This project caps off 350 units ranging from 55 AMI up to 120 AMI when you consider the pack of three projects. So I'm talking about the two previous and then this one. This is slightly smaller at 17 units. It's an existing single-story building where we're adding 2 stories up above. Exciting story background here that I'm going to let Peter and Juan tell you about, but we've got a total project cost about $3.6 million. Really exciting subcontractor goals, almost 50% of the project. So you're seeing $1.65 million anticipated there. And then I just want to call some attention to this being traditional brownfield eligible activities, as well as an emerging developer grant that the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority took up last month. And then we also have impressive investment criteria on the OPRA. The OPRA is maxed out at 12 years versus 10 because of sustainability here, as well as the units being under 80% AMI in totality. So those are the things I wanted to tell you, and invite Peter and Juan up to talk.
Thank you. Hi, Peter. Hi, Juan. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Peter Scornia. My role on this project is as an advisor and a design-build contractor to the owner of the project. So I met Mr. Lopez a few years ago as a subcontractor. He was a trade contractor now on a couple of our projects, and was always impressed with his level of his workmanship and being an entrepreneur in the neighborhood. And then we got involved with doing a program with the MEDC in the city of Grand Rapids about the development process and helping introduce emerging developers. And Juan had heard about it, and we invited him to attend, and out of that grew the opportunity for him to do this project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Juan.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for being a part of that.
Yep, thank you, and thank you for your time, everyone. My name is Juan Lopez, and I am the developer on this project. Very excited to team up with Stella and Peter here to see if we can make a bright change in our community. So that's all I got.
That's great. Thank you. Let me see if my colleagues have any questions. Commissioners, any questions for either Peter, Juan, or Sarah? Commissioner?
Just a comment. Thanks for being here. I know we do a lot of talking from the dais about uplifting emerging developers and people who are looking to get into that business. And so I think it's super exciting for you to be here, and look forward to the work that you're going to do. I think the building itself just really honors a lot of the charm that Roosevelt Park neighborhood has. And so I'm just super excited to see what that looks like when it's finished. So thanks.
Thank you. All right. If you are here tonight to be heard on this project, you are welcome to come forward. Again, we ask that you share your name, the city that you live in. You'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this item? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to close that public comment period. And again, that will be referred back to our committee of the whole. So thank you all for being here tonight, the individuals who came to present, and for our Economic Development Director and the work that they do coming out of their office. Commissioners, I'm going to then move to public comments. So last opportunity for public comment is public comment on anything else that you wish this body to hear. We ask that you share your name, the city that you live in. You'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Yeah, and it looks like DeAndre is getting ready to come on up. And Commissioners, before you start that, Mr. Jones, just want to let my colleagues, I do have to leave shortly, so if I get up, I'll be handing the gavel over to President of the Commission, Mr. John O'Connor. And so if you see me leave, I'll try to do it quietly, and apologize to those who may be getting up to speak. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with Mr. Jones.
How's everybody doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. First, I want to give a shout out to everybody that ever came to one of my esports competitions, all of my community partners, and everybody in like the last the year and a half. Cool thing. So I actually just found out that I was one of the finalists for Forbes 30 Under 30 for games, and that's all of the work I've done for esports. So I'd love to be I am the trailblazer and pioneer, and probably the first person that actually was a finalist for Forbes 30 Under 30. And we know this is the second worst city for economic development for African Americans, and I've done a lot of vital work and infrastructure. I said at the beginning of this year that my key word was going to be infrastructure, and just really focusing on infrastructure and really trying to change society. So I believe I am one of the best leaders in the city. I stay level-headed with everything that I do, but I definitely believe D. Jones is definitely one of the best leaders in the city, and I believe that me being a young person that just turned 30 years old and finding out that I'm one of the finalists for Forbes 30 Under 30, I think that only proves that. And I look forward to continuously doing the work that I'm going to do, because I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop being relentless. That's one thing, I'm very relentless. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop being passionate, and I'm not going to continuously stop being genuine and authentic in everything that I do, because I'm D. Jones with everybody, with every single human being that I encounter. I'm D. Jones, and I'm always authentic, and I always give everybody the same energy and love, and I never shun people off and stuff like that. So once I become, that old man in the next 30 years, I'll be sure to pour back into the youth, because that's already what I'm doing now. And I think I got another 30 years of that. And I want to see what that's going to be, because I know for sure I'm going to be a billionaire one day. If I can get on the Forbes 30 Under 30, and I've already have a Forbes article in 2020, I definitely believe that I'm going to be a billionaire one day. And the thing is I'm going to give back to community. I'm going to give back to society. I'm going to 3D print homes. I'm going to do all of these cool things once I actually have the funds to do this. And hopefully, I'll be able to build that innovation center here in the city of GR and globally. Because, like I said, I'm one of the only people that I know that got on Forbes and one of the finalists for Forbes 30 Under 30 for games and esports. And I believe I was the person that came here in city council and educated city council on esports. And obviously, you guys know that the school district invested in esports in KDL, and now they're actually painting the rooms. And so those invites are going to be coming. And so I'm really happy. I even ran into the governor's office and connected them to the school district. So I run into powerful people across our community, across our state, and I just look forward to changing society and doing it here. The second worst city, D. Jones, Forbes 30 Under 30. Even if I don't get it, I'm going to be a billionaire one day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right, others wish to be heard?
Hi, I'm Ron Jimerson. I'm one of the co-founders of Cesar Chavez, and I'm also the chairman of the board. I just wanted to take this opportunity to really thank the city commissioners, the mayor, and all of their staff for awarding Cesar the opportunity for the Safe Community grant that's coming up, which is really, really critical. And our approach is totally, totally different. For those who don't know me, I work with Mindy, I call her Mindy, at Cascade Engineering for many years, and worked with also Ben Gore. But while I was at Cascade Engineering, I developed a welfare to career program, school to career program, prisoners reentry program, and also developed their diversity and inclusion training that we took all over the country. So I also did some work with Ben Gore. So we're really excited about this. One of the things that Cascade did teach me is that you have to look at the root cause of the problems if you're really going to solve them. You got to get the data. And that's one of the things that we really did that was really good. And I just want to share just some data with you. And this is out of the National Center for Education Statistics. And in there they say, and you can look this up, over 50% of the American population are on some forms of welfare, dropped out of school. 36% of those with a disability, it could be dyslexia, dropped out of school. This is what's frightening. 74% of all American prison population dropped out of high school. And then they go on to say these low-income parents that drop out are 240% more likely to have kids that drop out. This is where our focus needs to be. And see, when we talk about the school-to-prison pipeline, that's just a symptom. That's just a symptom. And what that is basically doing is putting some of our kids in the criminal justice system. And we have to stop that. We have to develop, and what Cesar is working on, is developing a program that's going to deal with the parents and the kids at an early age. You can look at your statistical information, you will find that 21% of all kids entering kindergarten have been traumatized and cannot learn. And we have to begin addressing those problems at a real early age if we're going to reduce crime in this city. And we've already started the process. We're working with the Grand Rapids Police Department, and the region now can talk a little bit more about that. And fire department, which is really neat. We took about 30 kids on what is known as fishing with the popo a few weeks ago. And we had the whole police department there, which was really, really neat. And these kids were really excited. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, folks. Good evening, everyone. And congratulations to all of those great projects that we heard tonight. The mission of our city is to elevate the quality of life through excellence. City services.
Can you just state your name, if you
And I'm sorry. This is Reginald Thomas, and I'm the CEO of Seas of Promise. Thank you. Again, the mission of our city is to elevate the quality of life through excellent city services. Our vision, Grand Rapids will be nationally recognized as an equitable, welcoming, innovative, and collaborative city with a robust economy, safe and healthy community, and the opportunity for a high quality of life for all. To elevate the quality of life through city services. Seas of Promise, Uptown Church, Dr. Blue, Blue Pathways, Grand Rapids United Rocket Football League have a commitment to work with our city, with the Grand Rapids Police Department, with the Grand Rapids Public Schools, our Kent County Sheriff's Department, and the mothers and fathers in our community who will be held and choose to hold ourselves accountable to this mission and this vision. To the mayor, the city manager, Mr. Washington, Chief, Deputy Chief Winstrom and Trigg, Commissioners Perdue, Goy, the other commissioners on the dais, all of my friends on the Grand Rapids Police Department, including Officer Richie Lee, Officers Javon Sanders, and all of your staff, all of our residents, and all of the other positive humans, thank you for the funding. Thank you for the recent support. We take on our city's mission. We take on that vision, walking with you and the other positive energy humans in our community. We'll commit to bring more residents here over the next year. We will continue to fill this room because actions speak louder than words, and we must be well informed. Thank you for your support. Thank you for walking with us on that mission and vision.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Tamara Lopez, City of Wyoming. I am running for Kent County Probate Judge. I just wanted to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about myself. This judge is assigned to the family court. I have 14 years of practicing lawyer, family law, abuse and neglect, which is CPS cases, juvenile delinquency, and PPO cases. This docket that this judge will handle is only 15% domestic cases, which means divorce. The rest is the specialty CPS cases, PPO cases, and juvenile delinquency. I've had to take a lot of continuing legal education classes every year to be on that list and to represent these litigants that come before the courts. I have life experience. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a stepmother. My motto is keeping families together. Let's give these families services so they can keep their families together. At the end of the day, my interest would be best interest of the kids, no matter what, whether it's juvenile delinquency or in divorce matters or CPS matters. I have been endorsed by several judges in the Kent County area, community leaders such as Kent County Commissioner Monica Sparks and Dan Burrell, State Rep Tommy Brian, and Angela Regas. I recently have been found well qualified by the Judicial Candidate Review Committee for the Grand Rapids Bar Association, and I welcome your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that'd like to be heard? And welcome back.
Okay, Nancy Haynes again. Now I have my mom hat on. As I said, I live on the northwest side. We live in the neighborhood that's kind of often forgotten. We're like the last to ever get snow plowed. It's Blueberry and Ranch right across from Holy Cross Cemetery. And I don't know how many years, my kids went to C.A. Frost, the elementary school, and then when we opened the middle school, high school, I have 3 boys, and they had to walk in the dark up that scary hill on Koval to Richmond to get to the sidewalk. And because we were within a mile, they had to do that walk. And so it made me have to rearrange my work schedule and my husband because we weren't comfortable with them driving or walking up that, that road. It doesn't have any sidewalk, and it really barely had a shoulder. And it wasn't an easy job to put sidewalk in, but we brought it up to Commissioner O'Connor years ago. And my kids are now in college, but we still have a lot of young kids now moving back into that neighborhood, and we are so grateful for all the work that you had to do. And you had to move heaven and earth and put in huge cement blocks, and we really appreciate it. We look forward to the day that you connect Koval to Blueberry so they don't have to walk on Walker, but we'll take what we can get. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that'd like to be heard? Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners, staff, and public behind me. My name is still Daniel Allen Scott, longtime resident of the city on the west side. More importantly, my real identity is I'm a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. I could not make it here last month, otherwise I would have shared this then. But I do not rejoice in anyone's death, but I do rejoice when lives are saved from death. It was the night of August 23rd, 2023, just over a year ago, that the Almighty Lord God proclaimed enough is enough. He took the life of Thomas Gordon, the butcher of 320 East Fulton. Estimates are that he personally murdered and butchered between 50 and 60,000 precious babies less than 2 or 3 miles from where we're sitting tonight. Literally ripping them apart, limb by limb, right up to and after birth. Stop and think about this. 50 to 60,000 precious babies murdered in cold blood. That night of August 23rd was also when we had that storm come through northern Kent County. This was apparently where he lived. Because that night, the Lord sent that tornado, high winds through northern Kent County, and according to the words of his widow, she tried to call EMT because he was having a heart attack. EMT said, "We can't get to your house because of all the downed trees." She then tried to call the helicopter. They said, "We can't get near your home because the high winds." She reported that he died a violent death. A violent death. I could not help but think of the Holy Scriptures that say, if we sow peace, we reap peace, but if we sow violence, we reap violence. I don't know where this man is now. He's either in heaven or hell. But the precious babies, 50 to 60,000, he murdered, died violent deaths. And now someone has taken his place at 425 East Cherry, a place called Planned Parenthood, which really should be called Planned Genocide. But praise God, a life was saved there recently through sidewalk counselors.
Thank you.
Let's do more about speaking up and saving all of Grand Rapids citizens.
Next speaker. Welcome, Ms. Cooper.
Hi, my name is Martha Cooper. It's been a while. I'm glad to see you all tonight. I really doubt any babies were ripped up after they were born, but I'm here to speak on housing, as I usually do. Today I saw something great. You know I do. I get up here and I stretch you out a little bit because I really want to see more. Because there's just really not enough going on. I mean, I understand there's a figure that I didn't really realize that, you know, I've been talking about affordable housing and I need to change my language and start calling it low-income housing. Because affordable is not 80% of AMI. I don't know very many people in my own life that make that kind of money. So I do know a whole lot of people under 30% of AMI, and sometimes much less than that, especially the disabled and the elderly, cannot find housing. Today I went to a groundbreaking with Well House, and my dear friend and someone I admire so greatly was Kurt Reppart. Ran into him and he told me about this project he's been working on now for quite a while. And there is going to be heads covered. And we're talking about the kind of heads that are currently homeless. So I'm talking about, I want to see some solutions for that population. I see this thing going on at Leonard Street. Hey, all housing is good housing. But the thing is that they're talking about 181 units, only 10 of which are going to be reserved for people that are making under 60,000. That is still not touching the huge need that we have. I don't have much time left and want to talk about something, and that is that we're a bunch of people that are pretty smart. And we figured out how to get big things done. We've figured out how to get a whole lot done just recently here that was for profit, like amphitheaters and soccer fields, and things that the folks that I know probably will never go to, but they probably couldn't afford the parking. But at any rate, what I'm saying is you guys have power. I want you to start using it, and I want you to get creative. I understand, and I've said something before about the Affordable Housing Board not having meetings. Well, if it's because we're out of money, then what we ought to be doing is having those meetings to brainstorm up what other people are doing in other areas to cover heads. And I'm talking about covering heads of people like me. Like me. I am housing insecure just because I know what the market is. I know what's going on with women that are over 50, 60 years old and staying at Degage. They don't stay all day, they stay overnight. That's all they have. This is a morality issue, as certain as some other people have their morality issues, but this one's critical.
Welcome.
Hello, friends. Mark from Grand Rapids. 41 days. That's all there is left to vote. All this will go for naught if people don't vote. If you don't want to see a situation like Amber Thurman, who died when she was pregnant, and the OBGYNs and the doctors down there in Atlanta didn't want to do any procedures with fear of being arrested, charged, and convicted and serving 10 years in prison for a simple procedure that could have been prevented. Her life would have been saved. So don't tell me nothing about pro-life. Because you're not pro-life, you're anti-abortion, period. I don't care what you say. Then you have people like Mark Robinson, who, if he has his way, he wants to rip down the statue of Martin Luther King at the National Mall in Washington, calling him a communist and a fraudster. And then again, he's the same guy who's going on porn sites and talking about having intimate liaisons with his wife's sister. And he wants to run for governor of North Carolina. But then again, he has the support of the Orange Man and the Waterbeat Hillbilly. These individuals should not be anywhere in leadership. But that can change if you vote. So here's what I want. I want you to get registered. And then once you get registered, I want you to dominate the polls and dominate those ballot boxes. Because this election is very critical. Because if you vote wrong, I don't care who you vote for, but if you vote wrong, bad things will happen. So get registered, go out and vote. Your lives are dependent on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Welcome.
Bill Peterson, 639 Sherry, Grand Rapids. Manager Washington, I don't know if you'll remember this, but 4 or 5 years ago, I came in front of this commission and asked if I had had a conversation with a city employee over city business, if I was entitled to a written summation of that conversation. And if memory serves me, you told me yes. And I'm here to tell you that one of the lieutenants in your police department told me that that would be unlawful. One of your sergeants in your police department laughed at me. And I was very hurt. I have also asked people in the police department and in code enforcement to provide me with written explanations of some of the things they do. And they also laugh at me, tell me that they don't have to do it, and they won't. Now, when I was here, 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know if you remember or not, I asked this commission, to whom do I apply if, I don't get these written summations? And you, I think, rightly said, Mr. Peterson, you would apply to me. I'm applying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Welcome.
Thank you. Hello again. My name is Shannon Tanis, and respectfully, First Ward. I wanted to bring to the attention of this public body some more public matters that I've been oversighting and engaging with FOIA process with other city bodies, not you guys currently. And we discovered a sex offender being hidden in a nursing home because he was related to an attorney that worked for the city law firm. And I had oversight to help get the appeal approved. and get that information. And when we looked into the information about the sex offender, he was not on the state registry and he's not on the federal registry. And I notified our legislators last year, and the chairperson of the committee in the Senate requested ombudsman. Nobody did anything about this. So we came back again a year later because we still couldn't figure out his original charges or anything else. And I emailed the colonel of the Michigan State Police, and when I did that on Wednesday, the iChat went down and it just went back up this morning. And we still have not gotten proper engagement, but we have located this gentleman's original charges, and I'm here to file injunctive federal relief against the public body, not this public body, but it's just more evidence of the entitlement and the backdoor mechanisms that the people are discovering, and the non-compliance of the public bodies to try to hide and sweep things under the rug, which brings me to the parking. The $81,000 that the Wood TVA just did with me for the holiday, and this body's entitlement to keep that money instead of proposing or putting it on a ballot for the people to vote what they want to do with that. The body still hasn't even come out with where that money went, where the accountability for that. I guarantee you, I could be in that department and I could locate all those people and return that money either to them or return it to the Treasury, to the unclaimed department, where all financial aspects are supposed to go when you can't relocate the original person they belong to. So I appreciate Max Frank addressing and giving me a letter, but the article did not address the city attorney trying to incite the term volunteer in the contract to incite further to keep that money. That wasn't transparent. So I wanted to also bring that to the attention. So I'm kind of here in town to file several lawsuits.
Thank you
and
for your comments.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard? All right, seeing none, we will close that public comment period, and I'll turn to my colleagues, and I'll start with Commissioner Perdue. No comments. Commissioner Robbins? No comments. Commissioner Isasi?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just have a few comments tonight. Thank you to those who came out to talk about, for the hearing for our community development. I think especially appreciate you, Ms. Haynes, who has done a lot of great work for the city. And I know you mentioned your team. I know you have a lot of long-term staff members, which absolutely makes an important difference in the work that you do. And I would just ask that we continue, as I think we talked about in November, we'll have that further comprehensive discussion around housing. If we can continue to put these other elements around, how do we keep people in situations, or how do we respond? I'd really like to have a further discussion about, I hate to call them ancillary, and I don't mean to sort of take away the work, Nancy, but to be able to look at what are all the aspects as we know we have more units, as we have different property management companies. I think this is an important issue to dig a little bit more into, and I know that there's been a lot of work that you've also provided. I know Kristen Turkelson has left, but that you've worked very closely with our planning department and during our during a lot of other aspects of new development. So I do want to highlight that, and thank you for being here today, even though you live in the first ward, so, it's okay. No, I'm just kidding. I want to thank Ms. Behrens, as well as the Corridor Improvement Authority, the Cesar Chavez and South Division Corridor, which I know my colleague serves on, and we've talked about quite a bit. We know that there is record amounts of construction happening in our city, and Ms. Behrens, I think you gave us a statistic that by next time this year it's going to be triple. Is that what you're saying, in terms of the amount of investments? You're shaking your head. And just wanted to highlight that we know all of our business corridors that are experiencing this construction definitely need your support. And the Corridor Improvement Authority has invested in different videos that they've had individuals, because that a lot of different Latino businesses, so a lot of bilingual videos have gone out. I think there was a total number of 14, lots of different impressions. I know city staff have been working very closely with our chambers of commerce, as well as other economic development agencies. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. I think some of the biggest concern I continue to have on commission is misinformation about what is or isn't being done. A lot of times we hear things that are very declarative. You're doing nothing. There's so much more to do. Just statements that I think these things that we're working on are very complex, are very, I don't know how long that well house project went on, but I know Commissioner Repper had been working on it for a minute. And so to do projects like that, it is going to take time and different energy and spaces. So I just wanted to highlight that on the corridor. I also want to remind us all that we are in the middle of Art Prize, another economic development opportunity here in our city, and highlight that our Creston Neighborhood Association jumped on that bandwagon and is having a mural and art tour. And so this is some connection points with our Corridor Improvement Authority, our neighborhood association, and a reminder that one of the best arts events is happening tomorrow in Creston, which is the Art Bash at Golden Age. Also tomorrow, well, you're going to talk about that, the forum that's happening?
I can.
Okay.
Very good.
No, you can talk about it. And then just lastly, I just wanted to, we had our public safety meeting today. Thank you to Mr. Kane and to the entire body and those that came from our pitch night winners. I think a lot of good connections were made, and it's just a reminder that sometimes we're doing the work and we forget to talk about each other, and that's my takeaway from today, because I've had a couple of interactions where I'm like, well, I know that. How come somebody else didn't know that? And the response needs to be, how can we better inform individuals? So that's what I'm taking away today. I think Commissioner Knight, Commissioner Robbins will make some connections and remind everyone that we are having a safe pitch task force night on Tuesday, October 29th. It will be held at GRPS University, and it's an opportunity for grassroots organizations who are working to reduce gun violence in our city to make a pitch for a $10,000 grant award. And we are looking at really all of the different aspects of how somebody might be in a situation where they're either perpetrating violence or have experienced violence, and that can range from youth programming, athletic programming. We've done things around distributing gun locks, worked with neighborhood associations, but as well as individuals who are experiencing domestic violence. So just wanted to remind us all about that, and a reminder that we need to continue to tell ourselves things 7 times by 7 ways so we can make greater connections. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Goy?
Thank you, Commissioner O'Connor. I just want to say thank you to all of you who spoke here tonight. I think I'm new to this commission, and I'm always impressed by the people who come forward and willing to sometimes take the risk of expressing their concerns, and I think I really appreciate that. And especially today, I heard not only some of the challenges that we have as a city. We're not a perfect city, but we certainly have people who are willing to strive for that perfection. And I especially appreciate the story of a transition of Juan from worker to developer. I mean, that's just an amazing story, and one that I think hopefully we can hear more of as we continue to become a more inclusive city. Also, I just want to thank the various nonprofits who came here tonight, the Family Promise, Fair Housing Center, Seeds of Promise, and others. And I think that in spite of all the challenges that we have in the city, there are people here who are compassionate and who are willing to make the sacrifices to ensure that everyone has the ability to have a quality of life that they deserve. So thanks to all of you. I'm honored to be a part of the City Commission, and I think that my colleagues here are also very, very committed, and our city staff is very committed to make sure that we have a great city. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner
Knight? Just echoing the same sentiments. People, thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts tonight. Also want to highlight that I'm grateful that we were able to move forward with the ordinance change in the salary for our police chief. It's not often that you run into someone who has so much compassion for their community, and knowing that our chief came in at a really rough time and had to put his feet to the ground, has done so with integrity and with great heart for this community, and I'm grateful to have him here and that we're able to keep him here. Also, kudos to Chief Brad Brown and the fire station being EMT certified. That is a huge accomplishment and something that will help us be able to provide greater service in our community. Also on the groundbreaking for the new Kendall Fire Station, which happened last week, I do believe. So that is moving forward. And then also on the housing tip, not to beleaguer the point, but grateful to see all price points in all of the developments that have been presented to us. And we know that we need a little bit of everything for everybody across this community, and all of it's not all going to come at the same time. But I was grateful to see those three developments come forward and have multiple price points for all of them, and also some of them very specifically towards our lower income residents here in our community. So looking forward to more of that work going on in our community and partnering with you all to continue to do great things. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. City Clerk?
Yes, Commissioner Sassi reminded me to share this as well. Tomorrow evening here in the chambers, the Mayor's Youth Council is going to be hosting a mayoral forum with the two candidates for mayor. Former Commissioners LeGrand and Lanier will be here, and they'll give a little bit of their background, and then also they'll have a question and answer moderated by the Mayor's Youth Council members. So it's a great forum. I think there's only a couple opportunities that you'll see the two mayoral candidates together doing question and answers. That'll be from 5:30 to 7:30 tomorrow here at City Hall. So hope to see everybody back again. Also on election-related things, Mark's right, 41 days, we're moving right along, and absentee ballots, we received those yesterday, so we're in the process for those 30,000 people who are on the, who filled out an application. We are busily processing those, getting those ballots put in envelopes, getting ready to go out in the mail at the end of this week, over the weekend. So absentee ballots are available. You can apply for an absentee ballot online at michigan.gov/vote. And we're just getting everything ready for training election workers and preparing for that too. So if you're interested in being an election worker, you can send those applications in. You can find that on the current election website. And then I don't know if anybody's seen billboards out there. We do have some billboards placed on digital billboards reminding people to sign the back of their absentee ballot envelopes when they can register to vote. So we have a billboard and bus campaign going on right now. So that's it for me.
Thank you, City Clerk. City Attorney? City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. President, and Commissioners, thank you for your work today. Excuse me. And I appreciate the work of the staff. We had a very busy day, and want to thank everyone for their contribution for the annual report that was provided during the Committee of the Whole, and invite those who were not able to see it in person this morning to go back and look at the video. There are accountability reports on many of the different services and goals that we offered of the city over the past year. And we also I was talking to our Chief of Staff and Strategy Officer Luke Canfield about having even more condensed version of that available for the public, so we can go back and share with you not only what we plan to do as part of our strategic plan and our fiscal plan, but actual performance results. So thank you to all the staff who made it possible, and absolutely for the work that was done. I do want to just respond to a couple of things. Mr. Peterson, thank you for being here. I do not recall the specific remark or conversation, but I do know that there are certain rights for records if you submit it through a Freedom of Information Act request in terms of getting documents that currently exist. And then whether or not, the complaints are specific to police reports and summaries, I'll defer to the police chief, but I'm happy to have one of my staff members visit with you afterwards. Mr. Kane, if you can follow up with him in a little bit more detail. And Shannon, I don't know if she's still here. I heard during the public hearing, I thought what I heard was some tenant complaints around housing conditions. And so Ms. Bohatch is in the back who led the public hearing. If you're still here around, you can visit with her, and perhaps we can share with you the appropriate resources to follow up on those concerns. And then also heard a comment about the parking payment issue with the meters or the hours of enforcement. I believe that our next mobile GR commission is scheduled for October 3rd, and there will be an update, a very transparent update on exactly what happened and the solutions that were agreed upon during that meeting. And so that is a meeting open to the public. I believe Commissioner Roberts also sits on that meeting, and so those of you in the public who are interested, I would encourage you to attend. And on a couple other matters related to Art Prize, last week I had the privilege to go to both Fiesta Mexicana as well as the African American Music and Arts Festival, and both were excellent and outstanding. I want to thank both festival organizers and give a little kudos to our very own Commissioner Knight for leaning into that and making that a very inclusive cultural experience during our Art Prize celebration. And then lastly, thanking the staff who briefed the Public Safety Committee today. I won't highlight what's already been said, but I do want to thank the police, fire, and mobile GR department for highlighting the report on micromobility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.